2026 belongs to Jungkook and ARMY, a year of growth, hope, and new beginnings. No one knew exactly when it started. There was no countdown, no official announcement, no flashing headline to mark the moment. Yet somehow, quietly and undeniably, it happened as the calendar turned and the world stepped into 2026. A familiar name began echoing again, not just across timelines, but deep inside the hearts of millions. Jungkook, and with him, ARMY. Not as a trend, not as a rumor, but as a feeling returning after a long pause. For years, Jungkook has never simply been an idol. He has been a symbol of growth, watched, scrutinized, celebrated, and loved as he evolved from a wide-eyed teenager into a global artist standing on his own. And ARMY has never been just a fandom. It has been a constant presence, weathering silence, distance, and uncertainty, holding space for a future that always felt just out of reach. That's why 2026 feels different, because this year doesn't arrive with noise that it arrives with meaning that in the quiet moments between schedules and stages. Many fans began to realize something unexpected. The wait, the long stretch of patience, trust, and belief, had changed everyone involved. Jungkook was no longer chasing a future. He was walking into it. And ARMY was no longer just hoping. They were ready. At first, the signs were subtle. A shift in tone, a different kind of confidence. The way Jungkook carried himself, calmer, more grounded, yet somehow more powerful than ever. He wasn't trying to prove anything. He didn't need to. His voice alone carried years of experience, growth, and survival in an industry that never slows down. And that's when it hit point. 2026 wasn't about a comeback, that it was about a return. Not just to the stage, but to purpose. Midway through the year, conversations across the fandom began changing. Fans weren't just talking about charts or records anymore. They were talking about healing, about maturity, about how Jungkook's journey mirrored their own lives. The pauses, the doubts, the rebuilding. It became clear that something deeper was unfolding. This wasn't just another era in K-pop history. This was a chapter shaped by time, patience, and resilience. Then came the moment that shifted everything. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic, but it was powerful. A single performance. A message. A lyric delivered with quiet certainty. Jungkook didn't speak about the past as something to escape from, but as something that shaped him. And in that moment, millions realized that the boy they once watched grow up had become an artist who understood both success and solitude. That was the twist no one expected, because 2026 isn't about chasing the spotlight. It's about standing firmly within it. For ARMY, this year feels like a shared victory. Not because of numbers, but because of survival. The fandom endured years of waiting, trusting that the bond between BTS and ARMY was never temporary. And Jungkook, in his own way, honored that trust. Not with promises, but with presence. Every stage he steps on now carries weight. Every note feels intentional. Every silence speaks just as loudly as the sound. This is what growth looks like when it's real. This is what hope looks like when it's earned. As the months unfold, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. 2026 doesn't belong to hype. It belongs to meaning, to evolution, to the quiet strength built over time. Jungkook isn't just moving forward. He's bringing everyone with him. And ARMY? They're no longer just watching history. They are part of it. This year stands as proof that some connections don't fade with distance or time. They deepen. They mature. They wait. So if you feel it too, this sense that something important is happening, trust it. Because 2026 isn't just another year on the calendar. It's a reminder that growth takes time, hope requires patience, and new beginnings often arrive when you least expect them. If this story resonates with you, if Jungkook's journey feels connected to your own, stay with us. Subscribe, like, and share this moment with fellow ARMY around the world. Because this year is still unfolding, and some chapters are meant to be experienced together. As the year moves forward, something else begins to surface, something even deeper than music or performances. It's the realization that Jungkook's journey has never been about perfection. It has always been about persistence. There were moments in the past when the world expected him to slow down, to fit into a fixed image, to remain frozen in time as the golden Maknae. But time doesn't work that way. Neither does growth. And in 2026, Jungkook no longer carries that title as a burden. He carries it as a foundation. Fans begin to notice the difference not only in how he performs, but in how he pauses, how he breathes between lyrics, how he allows silence to exist without fear. These are the marks of an artist who has learned that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, and ARMY understands that language better than anyone. Across different countries, time zones, and cultures, the same feeling spreads quietly. A sense of recognition, a shared understanding that they, too, have changed. They are no longer the same people who first pressed play years ago. Life happened. Responsibilities grew heavier. Dreams shifted. Some fans stayed. Some returned. Some found their way back after thinking they never would. That's why this year feels so personal. Because 2026 isn't asking anyone to be who they used to be, that it's welcoming them as they are now. Halfway through the year, discussions deepen. Fans begin reflecting not just on Jungkook's achievements, but on the invisible weight he carried during his rise. The pressure of being watched, the expectation to always deliver more, do better, reach higher. And suddenly, his evolution feels even more meaningful. Because instead of breaking under that pressure, he transformed it into something human. This is where the story reaches its emotional core. Jungkook doesn't stand in front of the world as someone untouched by doubt. He stands as someone who faced it and kept going anyway. And that honesty creates a powerful mirror for everyone watching. It tells ARMY that growth doesn't mean erasing the past. It means learning how to walk forward with it as the year progresses. Every new project, every appearance, every moment feels intentional. Not rushed, not forced, just right. There is confidence, but not arrogance. Passion, but not exhaustion. For the first time in a long while, it feels like Jungkook is moving at his own pace, and the world is finally keeping up. And then comes the realization that truly shifts everything. This year doesn't belong to records alone. It belongs to alignment. Alignment between who Jungkook is, who he has become, and who he wants to be. Alignment between the artist and the people who believed in him when the future was uncertain. Alignment between past struggles and present clarity. That's why 2026 feels like a promise fulfilled, not spoken aloud, but deeply felt. For ARMY, this year becomes a reminder of why they stayed, why they waited, why they believed that distance was never disconnection. Because the bond they share with Jungkook was never built on constant presence. It was built on trust as the final months of the year approach. One truth stands taller than any headline. This isn't the end of a journey, it's the beginning of a new rhythm, a rhythm where success doesn't erase humanity, where growth doesn't demand sacrifice, where hope isn't loud, but steady, and where new beginnings don't forget the road that led here. So if you're watching this and feeling something stir inside you, nostalgia, pride, comfort, or quiet excitement, know that you're not alone. This story is still